Welcome to the Way of Mastery. Welcome to the Way of Mastery, chilled out, relaxed Way of Mastery with Earl Purdy. Welcome to the Way of Mastery with Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. We're going to talk about commitment. We're going to talk about commitment to awakening. We're going to talk about commitment to awakening to the peace already within you. That's what we're going to cover in this presentation from the Way of Mastery. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. That's what we're going to talk about this evening. And it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm Earl Purdy. I want to welcome my mighty companions to the Way of Mastery. It's my pleasure to be here with you. You have no idea how much I enjoy being here with you live because you can interact with each other. You can interact with me live. And when I'm going to answer questions. So don't forget that you should follow this page, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, so that you can be notified as soon as I'm doing any kind of live broadcast. So the Earl Purdy page on Facebook Live. So welcome to the Way of Mastery. We're going to talk about commit to awakening to the peace within you, already within you. It's lesson 10 in the Way of Mastery, lesson 10. Lesson 10, the way is easy and without effort. Lesson 10, the way is easy and without effort. We're going to be doing the section, commit to awakening to the peace already within you. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. Page 125, page 125 in the Way of the Heart. Page 125 in part 1, the Way of the Heart, lesson 10, the way is easy and without effort. We're going to be on page 125. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. We're going to go deep. We always go deep. Just remember that you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas are going to be hard to believe. And some of these ideas are going to be quite startling. But you're not asked to judge these ideas. We're not getting together so that we can analyze and judge the ideas. Do you know that it is the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. It's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that they're true. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of the ideas you're going to find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you're going to find quite startling. No one's asking us to get together to analyze the ideas at all. It is time for us to come out of the world now, to come out of the worldly mind, to get out of your regular mind and to go into your right mind. It's time to go into your real mind. It's time to go into your Christ mind. It's time to go into your love mind. And it's commit to awakening. Commit to awakening to the peace that's already within you. I'm Earl Purdy. It's great to have you here for the Way of Mastery, and we're going to jump right into it on page 125. Please let everybody know who comes online, who wants to know where we are. Do me a favor, and you let them know where we are, so that I can go ahead and jump right into this, because I love the Way of Mastery, and I love the sanity. You know, even if none of this was true, even if nothing about what I'm about to say to you is true, what harm can it do to think you need to be more loving? What's the harm in thinking that you're innocent, you're powerful? What's the harm in thinking that you're responsible for how you see things? What's the harm in being taught to be accepting of yourself and accepting of others and to love others? Even if this was the biggest bunch of crock around, what would be bad about believing any of these ideas? Have you ever thought about that? So it's not really so much about focusing on how credible it is. These are some doggone good ideas that if we tried to live by these ideas, we would have a incredible reality. That's what would happen. And so it just so happens that I believe they actually are true. I think the way of mastery is awesome. So here we go. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. I'm going to get it up on my iPad so that I can follow along and see exactly what you are seeing. That way I'm monitoring and I'll know what's going on. It's about what? Commit to awakening to the peace that's already within you. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. Want to give a shout out to Kim and Gemma and Diana and Alita and CJ and Greg and all the rest of you mighty companions that are coming online right now. I want to say hello to all of you. Okay, commit to awakening to the peace already within you. That paragraph starts out by saying, as you cultivate the practice, as you cultivate that practice, what practice? The practice of committing to awakening to the peace already inside of you. So tonight we're going to make a commitment that we're going to awaken to the peace, which is total fulfillment, that's already inside of us. I make a commitment tonight to awaken to the total fulfillment that's already inside of me. Peace is total fulfillment. Commit to awakening to the peace already within you. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. Say that to yourself. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. You commit to awakening to the peace already within you. You commit to awakening to the peace already within you. You commit to awakening to the peace. You commit to awakening to the peace already within you. You commit to awakening to the peace already within you. I guess that woke everybody up, didn't it? I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit. Oh, this is great. The ego is just going crazy with it's amazing. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All it does, everything that happens, even the stuff that seems to be a challenge, has gotten to the point to me now it's almost funny. Because the truth teaches that our ego, the part of us that doesn't really want to hear this, is going to do everything possible to distract us. So now when I get these distractions or I get these little glitches in what I'm trying to do, it just makes me believe in what the way of master is teaching that much more. It just makes me believe in the truth of what I'm learning that much more. So, and if for any reason the picture freezes, anything like that, or goes offline, I'll be right back. So come right back. Or just stay where you are, and I'll come back on. So right now, I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. Let's say that. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. Say it with me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. I commit to awakening to the peace already within me. But when you commit something to memory, it has a much better and bigger effect on the manifestation in your life. When you commit something to memory, it has a much more powerful effect on changing your perception. Repetition changes your perception. Remembering changes your perception. So that's why I repeat stuff so much. That's why I move slowly. And that's why I do it the way that I do it. Because I'm doing these classes so that we can actually have the experience and hear what we're being told through the way of mastery. All of us know how to read. All of us know how to read. So it isn't about how fast can we read through it. It's about how much can I remember what I just heard. It's about, am I willing to set a goal? Because the most important thing you can do is to set a goal and ask yourself, what is the purpose of this and what do I want to come out of this? So right now, ask yourself, what is it that I want to come out of this? What is it I'd like to receive from this? What I'd like to receive from this is the commitment to awakening to the peace already in me. I want to awaken to the peace, the total fulfillment, the happiness, the joy, the security, the connection to God, love that's already within me. So, as you cultivate that practice, you will find that the peace that is already within you, you will find that the peace that is already within you, that you have touched 1,000 times in 1,000,000 different ways, that peace that's already within you begins to grow more constant. The peace that's already within you begins to grow more constant. The peace that is already within you begins to grow more constant, like the rays of the sun beginning to filter through the fog that settled into the mountain valley, obscuring the clarity of all things. In other words, your peace is going to descend gently. Peace is going to come to you gently. Total fulfillment is going to come to you gently. It's going to come to you like a dove, descending, as some would say, through the crown of your head, down through the brain, mind, down even to the heart, to the abdomen, throughout the cells of the body, while the body lasts. So you're going to constantly feel peace doing what? Peace will descend on you gently like a dove. In other words, peace is going to descend on you through the crown of your head and down through your body, mind, down even to the heart, to the abdomen, and throughout the cells of your body. And it's going to be doing that constantly all the time, as long as your body lives, as long as your body lives. So how do you gently relinquish the world? I'm going to give you some of the definitions from the Way of Mastery and also the Course in Miracles of some of these terms. Like when it says gently relinquishing the world, it's talking about gently relinquishing the false perception of separation, gently relinquishing the illusion, gently relinquishing fear. He says, rest on your decision to choose to teach only love. And to teach is to demonstrate. So relinquishing your fear is going to rest on your decision to choose to demonstrate only love. It said choose to demonstrate only love. So because you realize that when you don't what? When you don't gently relinquish the world, the false perceptions, when you don't demonstrate only love, the effect you know immediately. When you're not teaching only love, when you're not demonstrating only love, when you are not demonstrating only love, you experience an effect that's painful. You experience an effect that's conflicted. You experience an effect that's unfulfilling. So how do you know when you're not demonstrating love at any given time, in any given moment? How do you know when you're not demonstrating love? How do you know when you're not relinquishing the ego? How do you know when you're not relinquishing fear? How do you know when you're fooling yourself? You can tell because you are experiencing something that's painful, you are experiencing conflict, and you don't feel fulfilled. So does that mean that a person that doesn't feel fulfilled, that a person that is experiencing pain and conflict and a lack of fulfillment, does that mean that that person is not teaching and demonstrating only love? Yes, that is exactly what it means. It means that that person is not demonstrating only love. It's not teaching only love. In that moment, that person is not relinquishing the world nor the teachings of the world. So that's how you know when you're not demonstrating love. If you're not demonstrating love, the effect that you know immediately, that effect is painful, that effect is conflicted, that effect is unfulfilling, and that is what you no longer want. So tell yourself, I no longer want pain. I no longer want conflict. I no longer want pain. I no longer want conflict. You should tell yourself, you no longer want pain. You no longer want conflict. How do you get rid of pain and conflict? The way that you get rid of pain and conflict is to make the decision to teach only love, to make the decision to demonstrate only truth, to demonstrate only love. That's how you truly get rid of all pain. That's how you truly get rid of all conflict. That's how you truly, truly, truly get rid of all unfulfillment according to the way of mastery, is to teach only love, to demonstrate only love, because that's what you are. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to demonstrate only love because that is what you are. So that is how you get rid of pain. You get rid of pain by teaching only love and demonstrating only love. Now, here you have begun to transcend the world that you've made. And when you are transcended, and when you have transcended the world that you have made, you reclaim the world made for you. There's been a world made for you. You know, a cow doesn't make in a sense, think about this. The cow doesn't make the grass that it eats. Whatever created the cow also created the grass that sustains the cow. So that simply means whatever created us also created what sustains us, which means we really don't make what sustains us any more than the cow makes the grass that it eats. Growing grass is not the same as making grass. So the way of mastery is telling us that we want to transcend the world that we've made up. And then it says you want to reclaim the world made for you. That's the key term, made for you. That's a world that rests on perfect union. And perfect means complete. So a world that rests on complete union, that's a world that's been made for us. And that comes from the union of the Father and Son, which is the same as saying that comes from the union of the Creator with the created. So the created must unite with its Creator. The created wants to be and wants to rest in perfect union with its Creator. I'm doing this because I want to reconnect to God. I'm doing this because I want to reconnect consciously with my Creator. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to separate yourself from the Creator, but you can certainly see yourself as separate from the Creator. You are God and the offspring, the created and the creator, the Creator and the created. Then the next paragraph says, it also says in that paragraph, the way is easy and without effort. So for something to be easy, it has to be without effort. For something to be easy, it has to be without effort. So this experience that you are having is supposed to be easy. Your experience should be easy. The connection should be easy. The connection to love should be easy. The connection to the Creator should be easy. I want to hear that. The connection between me and my Creator to reclaim the world of love that was made for me is easy. It should be easy and ultimately without effort. So what I'm seeing in the comments, that's right. I'm glad that it tracks with what I'm teaching also, Alita, in a course in miracles. And you're right, CJ. What we want is divine synchronicity. And C says, where I put my focus goes my heart. So that means love is the target. And Demola says, I get rid of pain or suffering when I teach only love, because that's all I am. If I just teach only love, I'll get rid of pain and suffering. That's exactly what I've heard also. And that we are sustained by love. Also, Gemma says, union with the Creator in the created. Union with the Creator in the created. Love it. Diana says, when I transcend the illusory world I made. Did you hear what she said? When I transcend the illusory world I made, I reclaim the world made for me. When I transcend the illusory world, the false ideas, the false perceptions I made, I reclaim the world made for me, the world that rests in perfect union, created, united with Creator. And this experience is easy. It is breezy. It is beautiful. And CJ, love and unity is easy. Our connection with our source should be easy. So how do we make that happen? Let's go to the next paragraph. We're on page 126 in the Way of Mastery, in the Way of the Heart, Lesson 10. The way is easy and without effort. What value have you ever placed upon the world that has restored to you the peace that you seek? What is it that you have ever gotten as long as you've been here that's given you the permanent peace that you're looking for? What value have you ever placed on anything that has restored to you the peace that you're looking for? You have mistakenly thought, oh, I know it's going to do it. I know getting me a car is going to do it. When I get that car, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to have so much peace. Or especially when I get that relationship that I'm looking for, I know as soon as I tap into that relationship I'm looking for, that's going to do it. That's going to be the thing that gives me peace. I just know it. Oh, I know what's going to give me peace. If I have a successful career, oh, if I get that career together, man, if I get that career together, I know I'm not going to have anything but peace. What value have you placed upon the world that has restored to you the peace that you seek? And you're right, Diana, nothing. If I'd be honest with myself, nothing I've ever sought my entire life has ever given me constant, unbreaking, unending peace. And unless it never ends, it's not real. A peace that comes and goes is not real peace. A peace or a happiness that comes and goes is not real happiness. A love that comes and goes is not real love. So, what value have you ever placed upon the world that's restored to you the peace that you seek? And you have mistakenly thought, if only I can take a trip, if I could just take me a vacation somewhere, go off to an island somewhere, go off to the four corners of the world, that's going to give me peace. And so peace never quite comes. If you look at peace as being any of those things, true peace will never come if you think true peace is any of those things outside of you. Now, how do you experience things when you are enlightened? How do you experience things when you are living in enlightenment? The next part of this section is going to tell us how we're going to be when we are enlightened. And that excites me. I'll say it again. This part of the section that I'm going into now from the Way of Mastery is going to describe how a creator abides in enlightenment. So when a person gets their act together, when a person really begins to get this stuff for real, we are about to be told exactly how you would live in that type of awareness. And that's exciting. That's very exciting. Okay. So if a person is a creator abiding in enlightenment, they know that all events are neutral. So if I'm awake, I walk around every day in the world and I know that everything that's happening is neutral. So neutral that everything that's happening, all the events that are happening, have no effect except for those who choose to get caught up in what? Illusions. So a person that's awake is walking around knowing that the only thing that's happening all day is neutral events. And the only person that gets caught up with it is a person that's fooling themselves and deceiving themselves. The Creator, awakened, merely creates out of devotion to the mystery of that which has created him or her. I'm going to take this even slower. So how do you create when you are awake? How do you create when you are awake? Well, when you are awake, you create out of devotion, a devotion to the mystery, a devotion to God which created you. When you are finally awake, you create out of your devotion to that which created you. When you really wake up, you create out of devotion to the mystery of that which is God that has created you. I create out of my devotion. When I wake up to who I really am, and when I wake up to love, and when you wake up to who you really are, and you wake up to love, you're going to create. But you're going to create out of a devotion to the God that created you. You're going to create out of a devotion to the love that created you. You're going to create out of a devotion to the happiness and the oneness and the truth that created you. What else happens in the mind of an enlightened creator? Well, he says the mind of an enlightened creator does not arise in the morning and say, how can I survive yet another day in this world? So once a person has awakened, you can tell they are awake because they don't get up in the morning and all they think about is how they're going to survive for another day. So a person that's living at survival level, a person that's only focusing on how they can survive, a person that's only focusing on how they can make it, that's not an enlightened person. That's not a person that's awake. A person that's awake never gets up in the morning and go, how can I survive another day? How am I going to make it? The statement, how am I going to make it, from a sense of frustration is never, ever something that a mind that's awake ever says. So the mind of a person that's awake would never say, how can I survive another day in this world? When you wake up and you are enlightened, you never get up in the morning and say, how am I going to make it? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to find the person in the relationship that's going to make me so happy? How am I going to make sure that I get the career that's going to get me happiness? A mind that's awakening is never getting up in the morning thinking that their happiness is based on what kind of car that they drive. A mind that's awake wakes up in the morning and the first thing they want to do is create from a devotion to God, out of a devotion to love, out of a devotion to life and love. So it says the mind of an enlightened creator does not arise in the morning and say, how can I survive yet another day in this world? In the morning, when an enlightened creator arises, when you wake up, the first thing that you're going to ask yourself is not, how can I survive another day in this world? When I wake up, I'm never going to be worried about how I'm going to make it in this world. He says the question that an enlightened creator asks themselves, the question that an enlightened being asks themselves, is how this day might I extend the treasure? How this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? So how can I say that in regular language, okay? How can I extend just the good, the innocent, and the beautiful today? How can I, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I'm going to ask myself after I have awakened as a spiritual being is, how this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? Basically, how can I extend more goodness and more beautiful today? How can I extend more goodness and beauty today? How can I extend more goodness? How can I extend more innocence? How can I extend more beauty today? So an enlightened mind doesn't get up in the morning, An enlightened mind doesn't get up in the morning and ask, how can I survive another day? How am I going to make it? How am I going to pay my bills? The enlightened mind wakes up in the morning and asks itself, how this day may I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful. How can I extend some beauty today? How can I extend some beauty? How can I extend beauty today? How can I extend goodness today? How can I extend innocence, holiness today? How can I, right where I am, and don't forget that it says what? Right where I am. How can I, where? Right where you are. So the enlightened mind goes, how this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I, right where I am, experience these treasures? How can I experience these treasures? What are the treasures? The good, the holy, and the beautiful. How can I, right where I am, experience these treasures? How can I experience these treasures? How can I experience what? How can I experience the good, the innocent, and the beautiful? How can I extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I do that? Right where I am, how can I experience these treasures, even within the space and volume of this body? So how can I experience the good, the holy, and the beautiful in this body? How can I extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful in my body, through my body, within the body? How can I experience the good, the holy, and the beautiful, even within the space and volume of this body? How can I right now, and everything that I'm doing, I'm saying it over and over again, so that those of you who are watching, that hopefully you will also join in doing exactly what Yeshua, which is Jesus, is asking us to do, the way of mastery is asking us to do. Hopefully, while we are together, you're taking this and you're using this as an opportunity to actually practice what we are being asked to do. That together we are going beyond just talking. What we're going to do in addition to talking and communicating is we're going to do exactly what we're being told. Okay, so right now you are being told how you will be when you are enlightened, when you have really awakened to the good, the beautiful, and the holy within yourself. He says the first thing you're going to do is when you get up in the morning, you're going to ask, how can you extend the good, the beautiful, and the holy? Right where you are, right within the body that you are, where you are. So how can I experience love and happiness right where I am in this body? How can I experience and extend love and happiness right where I am in this body? How can I experience and extend love and happiness right where I am within this body? How can I, right where I am, extend love and happiness right within this body, right here and now within this body? How can I have happiness right here and now? How can I extend happiness right here and now? How can I experience love and happiness right here and now, right here and now within this body? Within this body, Earl should be saying, how can I experience and extend happiness and goodness and beauty and joy in this body? In this body, through this body, through this body. How can I look lovingly? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly upon what I'm looking at? How can I look lovingly on what I'm looking at? How can I look lovingly on what I'm looking at? That's another way of saying, how can I look lovingly on whatever I'm looking at? How can I look lovingly on whatever I'm looking at? An awakened mind, a truly loving mind, a truly healed mind gets up and it asks itself, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly on what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly on what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly upon this world? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes are showing me? How can I look lovingly on what my physical eyes are showing me, so that I can discern, so that I can extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful, and therefore give the good, the holy, and the beautiful to myself. So, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? Why do you want to look lovingly on what your physical eyes show you? You want to look lovingly on what your physical eyes show you so that you can discern, so that you can extract the good, the holy, which is the innocent, and the beautiful, and therefore give them to yourself. So how can I look lovingly upon my partner so that I can discern and extract the good, the holy, and beautiful, and therefore give them to myself? How can I look lovingly upon my children so that I can discern and extract the holy, the beautiful, and therefore give the holy and the beautiful to myself? Notice it didn't say, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me so that I can discern and extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful, and therefore give them to somebody else. It says, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me so that I can discern, so that I can extract the good, the innocent, and the beautiful, and therefore give them to myself? So what is it that what are the questions that an enlightened mind asks itself? First of all, what is the question that the unenlightened mind asks itself? The mind that is not enlightened, the mind that doesn't really know what happiness is, the mind that really doesn't know what love is, that mind gets up in the morning and that mind asks, how can I make it? How am I going to survive today? How am I going to make it? How am I going to survive today? A mind that is awakening, a mind that is beginning to know the truth, when that mind gets up in the morning, we were told that mind goes, how this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I, right where I am, experience these treasures, the good, the holy, and the beautiful, even within the space and volume of this body? The enlightened mind says, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly on what my physical eyes show me so that I discern and extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful, and therefore give them to myself? The enlightened creator in the morning, what are the questions that they ask themselves? So one day, what kind of questions are you going to be asking yourself when you wake up in the morning, when you're really teaching only love and demonstrating only love? When you become enlightened, you're not going to be asking, how can you survive? When you become enlightened, you're going to be asking yourself, how can I extend the good, the beautiful, and the holy? You're going to be asking yourself, how can I right here and right now experience the good, the beautiful, and the holy right here in this body? You're going to be asking yourself, how can I look lovingly on everything that my eyes show me so that I can extract only the good out of it and give it to myself? That's what you're going to ask yourself when you finally get this stuff, Earl. That's what you're going to ask yourself when you finally get this stuff. You're not going to be asking, how am I going to find that boyfriend? How am I going to get that money? What am I going to do with my boss? How am I going to handle my car note? You're not going to be asking any survival questions. When you become an enlightened being, you will never get up in the morning and be asking survival questions. When you are an enlightened being, you get up in the morning and you ask yourself, how can you extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can you experience the treasures of the good, the holy, and the beautiful right here in the body, right where you are? How can you lovingly look at everything that your physical eyes show you so that you can discern and extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful and give it to yourself? I want to know the questions that I will be asking myself when I really begin to get this truth. So I don't get up in the morning and I don't ask these questions immediately as soon as I wake up. So since I don't ask myself these questions as soon as I wake up, according to this, it means that I'm not awake yet. I'm not awake to who I really am yet. I'm not really awake to love yet. I haven't made the decision to demonstrate, it said only love yet. So I'm not going to use that information to beat myself up. That's old hat. That's the old way you handle stuff. Beating yourself up, just because you're not doing something the way you think you should and start beating yourself up, that's the old way. Forget that. That's tiresome. Aren't you tired of that? Haven't you had enough of beating yourself up because you think you're not getting it right? It doesn't make you a better person because you beat the hell out of yourself every time you don't do something the way you think you should. It doesn't mean you're noble and spiritual because you feel bad every time you don't do something that you say you're going to do. No. What you want to do is you want to use it as an opportunity to get in touch with how you know when you're really practicing the truth. When you're really practicing the truth, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're not going to ask yourself any survival questions. When you're really waking up in the truth, what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, how this day might I extend the treasure of the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I extend the beautiful today? I wake up and I go, how can I extend the beautiful today? How can I extend love today? How can I extend innocence today? How can I right here, right where I am, how can I experience these treasures even within this space and volume of this body, inside of this body? How can I experience love right here inside this body? How can I experience the good, the beautiful, and the holy? That's what you ask yourself when you immediately wake up. You're going to ask yourself, how can I look lovingly upon what my physical eyes show me? How can I look lovingly on what my physical eyes are showing me so that I can discern, so that I can extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful, and do what? Give it to myself. That's right, Cheryl. There's no need to beat yourself up anymore. So what else? Well, the next paragraph, it says, the mind of an enlightened creator, knows that of themselves they do nothing. An enlightened person, an enlightened being, knows that of themselves they do nothing. Of yourself you do nothing. Of yourself you do nothing. Of yourself. When you wake up, you will recognize that you are not doing anything by yourself, that nothing is happening in and of yourself. When you wake up, you know that nothing is happening without everything else. When you wake up, you know that of yourself you do nothing. But you also know what? Well, you know that in each moment of decision, one thing that you realize when you wake up is that in each moment of decision, what can you do? What can you do in each moment of decision? Well, what you can do in each moment of decision, it says, is that you can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct your course. In each moment of decision, they can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct their course. So of yourself, you do nothing, but in each moment of decision, you can, and the key word is allow, you can allow the great beauty and mystery of love to direct your course. You can allow the great power of love, and you can allow the great mystery of love to direct your course. You can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct your course. You can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct your course. In each moment of decision, you can allow the great power and mystery of love to direct your course. In other words, you can utilize time to refine your ability to do what? You can utilize time. You can use time to refine your ability to hear only the voice for love. You're supposed to be using your time to refine your ability to hear only God. You're supposed to be using your time to refine your ability to hear only the truth. You are supposed to be utilizing your time to refine your ability to hear only God's voice. You're supposed to be using your time to refine your ability to only hear the voice of love, the voice for love. So what are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear only the voice for love. You're supposed to be working on getting rid of every block and everything that keeps you from hearing the voice for God and love. You're supposed to be using time to get rid of every block to the awareness of love's presence. You're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear only the voice for love, moment by moment, breath by breath, day by day, until time is translated into eternity. So what are you supposed to be doing all the time? You're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear the voice of God. You're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear the voice for love, so that you can hear the voice for love, the voice for truth, and the voice for God in every moment, until time is translated into eternity, until time is translated into forever. And at the point that you have perfected the ability to only hear the voice of the Creator within yourself, when you have perfected your ability to only hear the voice for God inside of yourself, when you have perfected your ability to only hear God's voice inside yourself, at that point, then your mind will rest, your mind will recline in that perfect union with God, in that perfect union with love. Okay, let's see what comments we have here. If there are any questions about specifically what we've been hearing right now. Gemma says yes, right here, right now. Cheryl says yes. We don't need to beat ourselves up anymore. Spirit, now can I extend love today? Spirit, how can I extend love today? Deanna says an enlightened being knows that of myself I do nothing. And another comment is the good, the whole, and the beautiful need to be extracted. Another comment is I received this power and mystery of love to direct my course. C says the purpose of time is to use time constructively. The purpose of time is to use time constructively. And use the time to refine my ability to hear that voice of the Creator, God, which is love. Okay, so an awakened being, when they get up in the morning, they're not going to ask themselves how they can survive and how they're going to make it. An awakened being is going to wake up in the morning and ask themselves how can they use time to extract what's good and beautiful and holy and give it to themselves. They're going to ask how can they experience love and peace and happiness right here and right now within the body. And they're going to be working all day on refining their ability to hear the voice for God. That's what an enlightened being is doing. That's what an enlightened being does. So for an enlightened being, it says in the next paragraph, events still occur. So events still happen. You will still have events happening in your life when you become enlightened. You will still have events happening in your life. When you become enlightened, you're still going to have events happening in your life. The world is still what the world chooses to be. The world is still going to be what the world chooses to be. Even when you are enlightened, events will still happen. Even when you are enlightened, the world is still going to be what the world chooses to be. And the world is going to be unaware that there walks in its midst somebody who's awake. So you will be awake, but the world won't know it. You'll be walking around in the world awake, but the world will probably not know it. It says right here that an enlightened being is just asking themselves how they can extract and extend more of what's good, what's beautiful, and what's holy. An enlightened being is constantly trying to refine their ability to hear the voice of God. And they will be in a world where events are still happening. So you will be in a world where events are still happening because the world is still what the world chooses to be. But the way of mastery says you're going to be unaware that there walks in your midst somebody who's awake. So the world will probably be unaware that you are now awake walking among them. Just like right now, there are awake beings that are all around you that you are unaware of. There are beings who are already enlightened and awakened, and you run into them and you see them every day. You see them in the mall. You see them when you go to shows. Enlightened beings are all around you, but you are not aware of them. It says events still will occur. The world is still what the world would choose to be, but the world will be unaware that there walks in its midst one who is awake. Because somebody who's awake is somebody who doesn't need to make a show. Somebody that's truly awake. An awakened being doesn't need to let everybody else know that they are awakened. An awakened being is not trying to draw a whole lot of attention to him or herself. An awakened being knows there is no need to be a show-off. An awakened being knows there is no need to be a show-off. There's no need to be a show-off. And that's right, Indira. I will remember that I am free, using time to remind me that I am always free. I have just forgotten. I will remember that I am free, using time to remind me that I am always free. I have just forgotten. And that's the only issue, is that we have just forgotten. So when you wake up and you become an enlightened being, events are still going to happen. The world is still going to be the way that the world chooses to be. The world will also probably be unaware that you are awakened and that you are walking in the world, because you won't need to make a show. An enlightened being is merely the presence of wakefulness. It says right here, let me go back. It says, events still occur. The world is still what the world would choose to be, unaware that there walks in the midst one who is awake, who needs to make no show. The enlightened beings merely are the presence of wakefulness. So you'll be walking around in the world, and you are to be the presence of wakefulness. You are going to be just a presence and a being that is awake in the midst of all those brothers and sisters and parts of yourself that are not awake. You are going to be the presence of wakefulness. An enlightened being just wants to be the presence of sanity, the presence of truth, the presence of awakeness, but they're not trying to be a show-off. When you wake up, you're not going to be trying to be famous. That's not going to be your goal. No awakened being has the goal of being famous. No awakened being has the goal of being famous or special or rich or powerful or any of the stuff that most of us think is going to make us happy. You're going to know your abundance, and you're going to have more abundance and more love and more beautiful relationships than you can even imagine. Your life is going to be so full of loving relationships that the last thing that you would be thinking about is how to have a relationship. Your life is going to be so full of abundance that the last thing that's going to be on your mind is going to be how you can get money. So an awakened being they're just using their time to wake up, to extend more love, to know more peace, to know more fulfillment. You are using your time to make sure that you can hear the voice for love and the voice for God better every day. You're not worried about survival things, because those things are just going to be taken care of and provided for you, because you're now fulfilling your true function, and your true function is to want to teach and demonstrate only love and only truth. So it says that they merely are the presence of wakefulness, knowing that in each moment they will now be informed by the guidance of the Comforter. So an awakened being, they just walk around awake, and they know that they're going to be guided by God, and they know that they're going to be guided by right-mindedness, and they know they're going to be guided by enlightenment. So when you become an awakened being, you're not going to be worried about anything. You're not going to be worried about survival. You're not going to be worried about the survival of the people that you know. When you wake up, you're not going to be concerned about your survival, and you're not going to be concerned about the survival of anyone else, because you will be aware that everyone else is just as eternal and just as immortal and just as powerful as you are, and that everybody has the connection to source just like you do, and everybody has the connection to guidance just like you do. So an awakened being, they walk around in the world, and they're just the presence of wakefulness, and an enlightened being knows that they're going to be informed by the guidance of the Comforter, which is God, the Holy Spirit. An enlightened being knows that they are going to be informed by the guidance of right-mindedness. An enlightened being knows that they're going to be guided by enlightenment. So that an enlightened being, enlightened beings, they are no longer attached to fearing. So an enlightened being is not attached to being afraid. An enlightened being is not attached to guilt. An enlightened being is not attached to anger. An enlightened being is not attached to lack. An enlightened being is not attached to specialness. An enlightened being is a being that's no longer attached to fearing. What should I say? So when you become enlightened, you don't walk around being afraid about what you should say. When you become enlightened, you're not going to be concerned about what you should say. An enlightened being is never trying to think about what they say before they say it. An enlightened being has no concern about what they should say. An enlightened being doesn't have any concern in what they should do. An enlightened being doesn't have any concern about what they should do. And an enlightened being is not concerned about how another person is going to take it. How will this person take what I'm going to say? Or how will this person take how I'm going to express myself? An enlightened being is not concerned with how will that person take it? How will this person take it? In other words, to an enlightened being, the world is no longer a concern. So once you become enlightened, you will no longer be concerned about the world. Once you become enlightened, you will no longer be concerned about the world. The world is no longer a concern. The world is no longer a concern of a truly enlightened mind. The world is no longer a concern with a truly enlightened mind. That is really powerful, to think that you think it's just the opposite. You know, at least I did. I used to believe that if I was enlightened, I was totally concerned about the world. The only thing I'd be doing would be being concerned about the world. And the way of mastery is saying, no, once you become enlightened, what you will be doing is be in the presence of love and the presence of wakefulness. You will be using your time to keep your connection to God and your ability to hear God's guidance super duper clear. You will be extracting the good, the beautiful, and the holy out of every situation that you experience, and you will be experiencing in your body. And your biggest question would be, how can you extend also the good, the beautiful, and the holy? You won't be concerned about what people think. You won't be concerned about how people are going to take what you do or say, and you will no longer be concerned about the world. I love how the way of mastery is telling me exactly how the right mind operates, so that I can have a clear picture in my mind about the way that I will be expressing myself when I'm truly teaching only love and I'm truly awakened. Because if you don't know how you're going to be when you're truly awakened, how can you tell when you're not being awake? Unless you know clearly how you would be when you are in love, how will you be able to recognize when you're not expressing love? Because sometimes people think they're expressing love and they're not expressing love at all. So if I could be aware of how I would be expressing myself when I'm enlightened, then that means I will be able to recognize and catch faster whenever I'm not enlightened. Yeah, that's right, Kevin. This is what you've been doing. You're becoming aware of your own authentic enlightenment. That is the real you, and it's always been the real you. That is what we're doing. We're trying to get in touch with the real you. The purpose of this is to get in touch with the real you, the enlightened you. So it's important to me for us not to spend our time defending our old way of looking at things and our old ways of looking at ourselves. I love the way of mastery makes me aware of, I love the way of mastery makes me aware of the way I would be acting if I wasn't enlightened, the way that I would be acting if I am not practicing the truth. That way I can catch myself faster, because I will know that if I'm concerned about what I should do, if I'm concerned about how another person is going to take something, if I'm concerned about the world all the time, then I know I'm in an asleep state. If I'm all the time trying to ask myself how I can be more loving, more giving, more aware, more peaceful, more free, how can I be more beautiful, how can I extend more beauty, and how can I hear God's voice better, then I know that I'm in my awakened mind. I know that I'm in my awakened state. And did you notice that nothing that we've been told has anything to do with you trying to change anyone else? Have you noticed that there hasn't been one single thing that the way of mastery has said that has anything to do with changing anyone else or getting anyone else to do anything differently? So you know that must be the easy path. The easy path would have to be the path when you weren't trying to get somebody else to change in order for you to be happy. The painful path is always the path of the person that's always trying to change someone else in order for them to be happy. The painful path is always the path that goes something like, if you were different, I'd be happy. If this were different, I'd be happy. If they were different, I'd be happy. So it's telling us that once you become enlightened, then the world is no longer a concern. Please take the time to share this video on your timeline. Share this video on your timeline. There are other brothers and sisters that would love to hear this, that it may wake them up in a way that you would never even imagine, because it only takes a second to do it. The share button icon is right next to where you make comments. Doesn't take 30 seconds to do it. So once you become an enlightened person, how do you live your life? It says an enlightened person, they experience their life as an ongoing, flowing mystery. That once you become enlightened, you see your life as a mystery. You don't really think you know what's going on. But once you become enlightened, the one thing that you know is that you don't know. An enlightened person is a person that knows life is a mystery. Your partner is a mystery. Your job is a mystery. Your world is a mystery. Your family is a mystery. Your friends are mysteries. When you become awake, you know that you experience your life as an ongoing but a flowing mystery. That means as though something else were living through you. You live your life as if something was living its life through you. You would live your life as if God were living God's life through you. You would live your life as if she was living her life through you. You would live your life as if love was living through you. You would live your life as if God were living through you. You would experience everything around you as a mystery when you are enlightened, and you would be living your life as though something else were living through you. This is the meaning of my friend's words. Let that mind be in you, which is our Lord, Christ Jesus. Let the mind be in you that was in our Lord, Christ Jesus, as you would read in your Bible. But in other words, that mind is the mind of perfect freedom. Let the mind of perfect freedom be in you. Let the mind of perfect, complete freedom be in you. Let a free mind be in you. Let a free mind be in you. And a free mind is a mind that's free to think whatever it wants to think. A free mind is a mind that's free to think whatever it wants to think. So that mind is the mind of perfect freedom. The mind that was in the mind of Jesus was a mind of perfect freedom. And what does a mind of, who does a mind of perfect freedom belong to? Well, the mind that's perfectly free doesn't belong to anyone. Anybody that's got a free mind, they have a mind that no one else controls. They have a mind that is completely free. They have a mind that doesn't belong to anyone. And that free mind, that mind that's not limited, that mind can be cultivated. So you have to cultivate a free mind. You have to cultivate a mind of perfect freedom. Do you know that you have to cultivate a mind of perfect freedom? You have to cultivate a mind of perfect freedom. You have to cultivate a mind of perfect freedom. And it can be cultivated to flow through you. A mind of perfect freedom can be cultivated to flow through you. But only. So how can you get a mind of perfect freedom to flow through you? How can you get a mind of perfect freedom to flow through you? That's right, CJ. A free mind is open to all and owned by none. That's right, Kevin. Our true, undying higher self knows it all already. What we're trying to do is get the heck out of the way, because we were told earlier that it should be easy. It should be effortless. Our experience should be easy. It should be effortless. So how do you get to the point that you have a mind that is totally free? How do you get to the point that you have a mind that's totally free? Only if every single fiber of your beingness is wholly committed to holiness. Holiness is another word for love. Holiness is another word for innocence. Holiness is another word for beauty. Holiness is another word for freedom. Your mind has to be totally committed to holiness, innocence, freedom, love. In other words, you can't leave a finger outside of your love and get to heaven. All of your mind, all of your energy, all of your gifts, all of your very awareness must become committed. Every bit of you, all of your mind, all of your energy, all of your gifts, all of your awareness must become committed. Committed to what? To being the presence of peace. Every bit of your mind must be committed to peace. Every bit of your energy must be committed to peace. Every one of your gifts must be committed to peace. Every bit of your awareness must become committed to being the presence of peace. Notice it says, I have to be committed to being a peaceful presence. I have to use every ounce of my fiber, every fiber of my being, all of my mind, all of my energy, all of my gifts, all of my talents, All of my awareness must be committed to me being a loving, peaceful, free, happy, secure oneness presence. Every fiber up before your mind is free, before you can cultivate a free mind, which will give you a free experience. You can't leave any part of yourself outside of the love. You can't leave any part of you outside of the love. You cannot exclude any part of yourself from love. You cannot exclude any part of yourself from being innocent. You can't exclude any part of yourself from abundance. You can't exclude any part of yourself from health and safety and joy. We're being told that you've got to be totally committed to beauty. You have to be totally committed to love. You can't leave any part of you out of the love and get to heaven, which is reality. Heaven is just another name for reality. So that means what? That means all of your mind. It means all of your energy. It means all of your gifts. It means all of your very awareness. Every part of you must become committed to what? Being a presence of peace. You can't be raising hell, going off, cussing people out, being angry all day, depressed all day, sick all day about one thing or another, complaining all day about one thing or another, thinking about how you're going to survive. That is not a commitment. That is not a commitment to be in the presence of love. That is not a commitment to be in the presence of peace. You do not exclude yourself from peace. You don't make everybody else's peace more important than your peace. You don't make everybody else's happiness more important than your happiness. You don't make everybody else's happiness more important than your happiness. You don't make everybody else's happiness more important than your happiness. You do not leave yourself out of the happiness. You do not leave yourself out of the peace. You do not leave yourself out of the freedom. Don't leave yourself out. All of your mind, all of your energy, all of your gifts, all of your very awareness must become committed to being what? A peaceful presence. The presence of peace. And this is what nobody can do for you. I just share with you what nobody else can do for you. Nobody else can do this for you. Nobody else can do this for you. God can do it ultimately for you if you follow the instructions that God is now giving us. But there's not another person. There's nothing outside of yourself that's going to do this for you. Sitting at the feet of enlightened teachers, it's not going to do it for you. Sitting at the feet of a master is not going to do it for you. So who are the wisest of students? So who's the really wise student? Who's the really smart student? The way a master says, well, the wisest of students are those that hear the word and put it into practice. The person that's smart is the one that listens to what I've said and do it. The ones that are smart are the ones that listens to what the way of master says, and then they put it into practice. The person that's really smart is the person that puts this into practice. The person that's really smart, the student that's really smart, the wise student is the student that puts everything that I just said, everything that I've just covered, into practice. How? Diligently. For who? For themselves. What? That's right. You don't do this for your mother. You're not doing this for your father. You're not doing it for your spouse or your mate. You're not doing this for your brother. You're not doing this for your sister. You're not doing this for the sake of the planet. You're not doing this for the sake of the universe. You're not doing this for the sake of the new dawn that's coming. You're not doing this for the sake of anything, not for the sake of anything but yourself. Do this for yourself. Do this for yourself. Practice the truth for yourself. Apply this for yourself. Do this for yourself. Become more loving, become more awakened, become more conscious, become more responsible. Get up in the morning and ask yourself, how can you extend more love and extract more good and experience it in the body that you're in right now? Do this for the sake of yourself. Do this for your own sake. Do this for your own sake. Go ahead and be selfish. Go ahead and be selfish in the sense that you're going to become a more conscious, enlightened, loving being for yourself. It's just going to benefit everybody around you. I mean, do you really think you can become a really loving, cooled out God, divine being in expression, and that don't automatically benefit everybody else? Of course it is. But the way to get yourself to do it is to realize what it's going to do for you. That's how you get yourself motivated, is to think about how it's going to help you out. There's nothing wrong with looking at it and doing it for the sake of yourself. Do you know that yourself is what God created? Your true self is the self that God created. Your true self is the self that love created. Your true self is the self that love created. My true self is the self that God created. My true self is the self that love created. My true self is the self that God created. My true self is the self that love created. My true self is the self that God created. My true self is the self that love created. And it says that self calls out to you. So what is your self asking you to do? Earl, what is your self asking you to do? Well, your self is calling out to you. So what does your self want? Well, your self wants you to honor it. It's time for you to honor yourself. Pretend that I'm yourself and I'm talking to you. I'm calling out to you. I am yourself. I'm using Earl Purdy's body right now, but really I am yourself. And I am yourself talking to you. And I want you to honor me. Not honor Earl Purdy. Honor yourself. Honor yourself. Honor yourself. So how do you honor yourself? How do you honor yourself? Well, I'll tell you how you honor yourself. Do you want to know how you honor yourself? Well, I'm going to tell you how you honor yourself. The way that you honor yourself is by separating yourself from illusions. The way that you honor yourself is separating yourself from what's not true. The way that you honor yourself is by separating yourself from fear and guilt and anger and projection and blame. The way that you honor yourself is to separate yourself from people and situations and circumstances that you don't see as being nurturing and loving and peaceful for you. That's separating yourself from your ego. Yes, separating yourself from the idea that you are your ego. You're not your ego. You're not your fears. You're not your sense of being separate. So you honor yourself by separating yourself from the illusions. What kind of illusions? The illusions that you have allowed to make a home in your mind. So how do you honor yourself? You separate yourself from the false ideas that you've allowed to make a home in your mind. It's time for you to separate yourself from the false ideas that you have allowed to make a home in your mind. It is time for you to separate yourself from all the fears and upsets that you've allowed to make a home in your mind, Earl. In other words, it's time for you to become totally committed to teaching only love. It's time for you to become totally committed. Totally committed to what? It's time for you to become totally committed to teaching only love. It's time for you to become committed to teaching only love. It's time for you to become committed to teaching only love. It's time for you to become committed to teaching only love. It's time for you to become totally committed to demonstrating only truth. To teach is to demonstrate, and love is what you're here to demonstrate. Love is what you're here to demonstrate. The world is an illusion. The world is nothing but false ideas and false perceptions. So it's time for you to become totally committed to what? Teaching only love. There is no other way. All right, let's take a breath. Ooh, and we are going to do a quick wrap up, and then we're going to allow ourselves to integrate this. Thank you for allowing me to be used as an instrument and a teacher for you. That's what I do in the world full time. If you would like to make a financial expression of appreciation to support my teaching ministry, then you can just click on the link in the comments, which is paypal.me/Earl Purdy. Just go to the link paypal.me/Earl Purdy, or go to earlpurdy.com. I truly, truly appreciate it. It allows me to continue to be the presence and the voice for love. And even though the man may say that's some type of contradiction to what I've been saying, not really, because I see you as God and me as God, and all of us are God, and we're all sharing the love of God and the support of God through each other and with each other. I'm also available for mentoring, and I'm also available to clarity sessions where I can use all of these, show you how to use all of these teachings in your everyday life to make it real. And for those of you who are more open to also the psychic as well as the spiritual side of things, I've been an astrologer and a numerologist for over 40 years and can show you the blueprint of the intentions of your soul for coming into this life and the blocks that you intended to remove in order to know yourself as the enlightened love. So just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you can learn more about the services that I offer. I do a hardcore Course in Miracles at 7 p.m. Mountain Time every Thursday. I do a Course in Miracles on Sunday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live. And of course, I do the Way of Mastery every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time at facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. Facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live on the Earl Purdy page. Don't forget to follow my page so that you can be notified whenever I do live broadcasts. Okay, and thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the great communication you've been doing with each other. And let's see now how much of this that we can remember in quick review. So what we want to do in quick review is we want to practice asking the questions that only an enlightened mind would ask. We want to ask the questions that only the enlightened mind would ask. So when you wake up and you are enlightened, when you wake up and you finally got your act together and you're beginning to see what's really and truly valuable, you won't get up in the morning and you won't be getting up in the morning asking yourself, how am I going to make it? How am I going to survive? I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. How am I going to survive? I'm not going to be worried about, is she going to love me? Is he going to love me? Are they going to lay me off? I'm not going to be saying, when I get that car, I'm going to be happy. When I get that house, I'm going to be happy. When I get that body, I'm going to be happy, because an enlightened being doesn't know any kind of lack. The enlightened body, the enlightened being gets up in the morning and they ask themselves this question. They go, how can I, right where I am, how this day may I extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I in this day extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful? How can I in this day extend the good, the holy, and the beautiful? The enlightened person is not attached to fear anymore. When you are enlightened, you don't ask yourself, what should I say? What should I do? In the sense of, it's okay to ask the Holy Spirit that, but you wouldn't be asking that question based on the ego. You won't be concerned about how will this person take what I'm saying. You won't be concerned about the world. You will know that your only function is to be the presence of love, the presence of truth. When you wake up, you know that you're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear God's voice. You're supposed to be using time to refine your ability to hear the voice for love. Use time to refine your ability to hear the voice for love. Use your time constructively by using time to hear God better. Use time to refine your ability to hear God's voice. Each and every day, only love. In each and every way, teach only love. Love is all to all. When you wake up, you just want to use time to extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful. You go, how can I extend, how can I extract the good, the holy, and the beautiful? And you're not trying to show off. You're not trying to be all famous and special. You just want to be the presence of peace, the presence of love everywhere you go. And you will have to be okay with the fact that most people won't even be aware that you are around them as an enlightened being. I'll say it. I appreciate you too, CJ. Love you very much. I love all of you. I'm here to be the presence of love for you. Let me recognize the problems so the problem can be solved. Teach only love, that's why you are here. Teach only love, yeah. That's John Christmas at johnchristmas.com doing the music. Thank you for showing up, mighty companions. Woo! I love that dose of sanity that we give each other and all the awesome comments that you have made. Please share this video. I love you, mighty companion. I'll see you soon. And may the course be with you. Thanks for helping to narrate, CJ. Mwah.